Before it's too late, after 70, there are three things you should never say, never do, and never go. My friends, if you've reached this season of life, you already know how different everything feels. The calendar pages seem to turn faster. Loved ones come and go, and your body speaks louder than ever, reminding you that each choice you make now carries more weight. The truth is, at this stage, life is not only about counting years, it's about making the years that remain deeply meaningful. It's about filling them with dignity, purpose, and joy. That's why today's message matters so much. I'm going to share three things you must avoid because they quietly rob you of health, happiness, and self-respect. But I won't share them in the typical order. Instead, I'll begin with the one most people overlook, then move to one that is painfully personal, and finish with the most powerful of them all, the one that could change how you face the rest of your days. So let's begin. And before we do, take just a moment to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Your support helps this community grow. And together, we can keep reminding one another that aging is not the end, but a new kind of beginning. Never go where your spirit feels small. First, let's talk about the third on the list, but the one I need you to hear right now. Never go where your spirit feels small. At this age, energy is priceless. You simply cannot waste it in places that drain you instead of lifting you up. Maybe it's a relative's home where you are treated as though you're a burden. Maybe it's a local club or gathering where the only topics are gossip, bitterness, and complaints. It could even be a church group, a volunteer committee, or an old circle of friends you've been with for decades. The problem is this: every time you walk away from those places, you don't feel enriched, you feel empty, you feel invisible, you feel weaker than when you arrived, when you were younger. Maybe you forced yourself to stay, thinking you were keeping the peace or maintaining appearances. But now the price is far too high. Every single visit to a place that shrinks your soul is a day you'll never get back, and you can't afford to lose them. Think about it. Your surroundings shape your emotions, and your emotions shape your health. Research from institutions like Harvard and Mayo Clinic has shown again and again. Older adults who maintain positive, supportive social environments live longer, recover faster from illness, and even show sharper memory and better heart health. So before it's too late, walk away from the rooms that make you small. Walk instead into places where you feel alive, appreciated, and seen. That could mean joining a community class at your local library in Denver. It could mean gathering with a small book club in Charleston. It could even mean something simple, like sitting with neighbors who laugh more than they complain. The choice is yours, and your spirit is worth protecting. And I'd love to know, what's one place in your life you've chosen to leave behind? And how did it change your peace of mind? Share it in the comments. Your story might encourage someone else who needs to make that same brave decision. Never do what breaks your body to please others. Next, the second on our list. Never do what breaks your body for the sake of pleasing others. If you're over 70, let's be honest. You've already spent decades working hard. You raised children. You served family. You carried responsibilities on your back. Sometimes literally, you've sacrificed time, money, and energy for others. In many ways, you've paid your dues. The greatest mistake now would be ignoring the messages your body is sending. Just because you're afraid of saying no. Maybe your daughter asks you to carry heavy boxes up the stairs, and you don't want to disappoint her. Maybe at a family barbecue in Dallas, you stay on your feet all afternoon even though your knees are begging for rest because you don't want to appear lazy. Or maybe you eat food you know upsets your stomach, simply because it was made with love and you don't want to be rude. But here's the truth. At this age, your body is your one permanent home. And if you damage it now, recovery is not just harder, it can be nearly impossible. A strained back at 40 may heal in weeks. At 75, It could mean months of therapy, lost independence, or even a permanent limitation. Those who truly love you will respect your limits. Those who pressure you to break your health for their convenience are not showing you love. They are showing you neglect. And please, never think of yourself as a burden for setting boundaries. Saying no to what harms you is saying yes to more mornings without pain, more laughter with your grandchildren, and more walks outside where you can breathe freely. Pause here. Friends, if this message is connecting with you so far, take a quick moment to subscribe and share this video with someone you love. Together, we can spread reminders that protecting our bodies and spirits is an act of wisdom, not selfishness. Never say words that close your own doors. Finally, the most important one, the first in meaning, but the last I want to share with you today. Never say words that close your own doors to life. At 70 and beyond, your words carry more power than many realize. They're not just casual phrases. They are instructions, messages you send to your mind, your body, and even your spirit. Think about this. When you say, "I'm too old for that," your brain quietly agrees, and it stops creating new pathways. When you tell yourself, "It's too late for me," your heart slows its dreaming. When you whisper, "I can't," your body doesn't even try. I've seen elders in their late 80s and even 90s take up painting, piano, hiking, and travel, not because they had more strength or energy than their peers, but because they never locked their own doors with words of defeat. They stayed curious. They kept learning. They reminded themselves every day, "I still can." The most dangerous prison is not made of bars. It's made of your own sentences. Instead of closing the doors with hopeless words, open them with phrases that invite possibility. "I'm still learning. I'll give it a try. My best days may still be ahead." Even science backs this up. Studies from Johns Hopkins University show that optimism doesn't just make you feel good. It improves heart health, strengthens your immune system, and even lengthens lifespan. Your words are not empty. They are seeds. And every day, you choose whether you'll plant flowers or weeds, protecting spirit, body, and mind. My friends, you may have noticed something. Each of these three warnings points to one simple mission: protection, protecting your spirit from places that shrink you, protecting your body from sacrifices that break you, protecting your mind from words that close you in. Because the truth is simple yet profound. After 70, every single day is a precious page in the final chapters of your story. And none of us want those pages filled with regret about where we went, what we did, or what we said. Instead, we want them filled with dignity, peace, and joy, so that when someone else reads our story, they find courage and hope for their own. Story of Margaret. Let me share with you a true story. Some years ago, I met an 82-year-old woman named Margaret in a small town outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, for most of her life. She had gone to the same weekly group of friends. They had been gathering for decades, but every week, the conversation circled around the same things: who was sick, who had failed, who had disappointed them. Margaret said she often walked home feeling smaller than when she arrived. One day, she woke up and thought, "Why am I spending my golden years sitting in shadows?" That afternoon, she signed up for a beginner's painting class at the community center. She hadn't painted since she was a little girl. On her first day, she almost left the classroom. She whispered under her breath, "I'm too old for this." But the teacher, a man in his early 60s, overheard her and said with a smile, "Margaret, you're not late. You're right on time." Those words changed everything. 3 years later, Margaret's colorful landscapes were hanging on the walls of the local library. She told me, "I wish I had left that old group 20 years ago." My friends, you don't need 20 years to make a change. You only need today. Conclusion. So let me ask you this. Which of these three will you start with? Will you walk away from places that make your spirit feel small? Will you stop breaking your body to please others? Or will you change your words, opening new doors instead of closing them? Whichever one you choose, do it today. Because time, my friends, is not waiting. I want to leave you with this thought. Aging is not just about what we lose. It is about what we protect. Protecting our joy, protecting our dignity, protecting our right to live fully, even now. Every time you say no to what drains you, you are saying yes to life. Every time you rest instead of breaking yourself, you are saying yes to strength. Every time you speak words of hope instead of defeat, you are saying yes to more light in your remaining days. So protect your spirit, protect your body, protect your mind, and in doing so, you protect the very gift of life itself.